And I want to bring this country together. I know President Trump does as well. And I think you know him personally, right? He's a really good man. He's an incredible man. And I'm going to do whatever I can to get him elected, because I think we're at a tipping point in our country that we'll never be able to turn back from. And President Trump or President Reagan said it, we're about to go into 1,000 years of darkness if we don't get this right. And it's going to be reliant on the media being fair, honest journalists.
Yep. You remember Kari Lake. She lost the governor's race in Arizona to Democrat Katie Hobbs.
And I'm really tired of watching our politicians retreat from every single important battle. They're cowards. That's how we got into the mess we're in right now, because they have surrendered far too many hills.
It's funny she says that, because she retreats to the same conspiracies and nonsense every single time.
This is a war not being fought with bullets, but there is a war that's happening against our republic. And I think that's a fair assessment. I think there was a coup when they stole our election in Arizona. There was a coup and a takeover of our state government. The people's will was taken from them when they rigged an election.
Right.
And they installed people in our state government who were not duly elected. And this is why I continue to fight every day.
Y'all, this is what a grifter looks like. And she may not believe her own garbage, but she knows MAGA will. And like Trump, she's doing it to grab power.
This is a guy who's already won. He won in 2016. He won even bigger in 2020. All that January 6th was a staged riot to cover up the fact that they certified a fraudulent election.
I mean, just look into her eyes. It's all performative.
I agree with a lot of what Cash said about impeachment. If we just go back and deal with this fraudulent election and what happened in 2020, we don't have to impeach him, because he really isn't, in my opinion, and many others, and you look at the evidence, the true president. Why don't we decertify 2020? And that's the way we deal.
Y'all, she's really getting high off of her own supply. Y'all, this is what the new wave of MAGA candidates looks like. They're so preoccupied on the past, not focused on the future.
Obama was such a disappointment.
Right.
He stoked racial hatred, not even hatred. I don't believe there was that racial hatred. He tries to act like America's a racist country. America's the least racist country.
And yet, here you are, talking about a president who hasn't been in office since 8 years ago?
And he stoked that to try to get votes and to push fear.
Yeah.
And he had such an ability, if he would have wanted to bring America together, and he squandered that.
And how do you propose bringing our country together with one side blatantly opposing our democratic processes of our republic? Like, how are you supposed to come together with one person who refuses to admit that they lost at Monopoly? And then that's like all they talk about at on the way to work, on the way to school, on the way to their colonoscopy, on the way to the grocery store, on the way to church. Like, how are you supposed to come together with that person? Look, this is the same old crap that we've always seen from the Republican Party. They've just now rebranded themselves with vocalized bigotry, even more explicit now, and blatant extremism. It's all a part of their MAGA brand, and people live it as their identity, which is terrifying. And that's why I want to talk about 3 notable things that you need to watch out for in this upcoming election in 2024, and that you can use the next time that your MAGA family member, friend, neighbor, coworker starts spewing nonsense. The first thing is, MAGA Republicans are not solution-oriented. All they do is whine and complain about problems that either, number one, they manufacture and make up, like critical race theory, or woke gender ideology. Yeah, big gender knocking on your door trying to transform your kid to being trans, girl. But also, if they do complain about real problems, they're not proposing a solution. They're just whining about it and only making it worse, like inflation or the deficit, which only grew under Republicans. Which, by the way, trans kids matter. And just leave trans kids alone. Leave trans people alone. They just want to make their own healthcare decisions. Minding your own business is free. And this just only proves my point even further. Republicans are not solution-oriented at all. In fact, they're so preoccupied trying to go after other people's existence, which is just pathetic. And they also make problems even worse. It was under Republicans in 2017 when they did those big Trump tax cuts. When you have less money coming into the government, and even if you maintain or even decrease the spending just a little bit, the deficit grows because you're bringing in less money into the coffers. Compare that to Massachusetts. So Maura Healey, the governor of Massachusetts, signed a budget bill with a 4% millionaires tax, funding millions of dollars that now are used to make sure that no child goes hungry, providing universal free school lunch for all children, regardless of their family's income, meaning that you're actually protecting the children. Interesting, huh? See? Solutions oriented. Now, number 2, MAGA Republicans are perpetually living in their own election defeats. It always goes back to 2020 with them. For example, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, "We need a national divorce. Separate the red states and the blue states." Which, how would you even go about doing that? And who determines what is a red state and a blue state? What do you do when you have a state that voted in 2016 for Donald Trump and then in 2020 for Joe Biden? When you have a state like Georgia that has a Republican governor that they elected and also voted in a president or two Democratic senators like at the same election? What do you do when you have a big blue area like Atlanta and then smaller blue areas like Savannah, Georgia? Do you separate those out? Like, how would that even work? And this is where it really falls apart, especially when it comes to 2020. How is it that if Republicans win, it's legitimate, it was a fair election? But then if Republicans lose, oh, it's rigged, it's politically motivated, it's all from the deep state. And see, these people just constantly live in their election denialism and their election losses, always reminding themselves that they are a loser. Kari Lake going out there campaigning, talking about 2020 or her losing the governorship, always reminding her people that she's a loser, that she lost, that she's losing. It's kind of a depressing existence to always harp about the past instead of looking towards the future. And especially when you have no evidence to actually prove your standing anyway. And this gets to the last and final point that you all need to watch out for. It's all a grift. It's all about grabbing power wherever those cretins can get it. It's all about them. It pays to lie, especially if you're Kari Lake. Since losing the Arizona governor's race in 2022, she has raised millions of dollars to supposedly fight legal challenges that haven't gone anywhere. But in her campaign finance records, only about 10% of her actual dollars raised have gone to funding lawyers and attorneys for those legal challenges. And in fact, around $1.52 million of that money raised has actually been written off or categorized as administrative or other, leading to questions about where it's actually going. And the grand poobah, Donald Trump, continuing to grift off of Americans. I mean, that's Kari Lake's teacher, continuing to fill his coffers using poor people in rural America that will fall for his election lies to continue supporting his wealthy existence. I mean, Kari Lake is just taking a page out of the Trump playbook. Do whatever you can to fool people, constantly lie, give them what they want to hear so that they will donate millions and, I don't know, buy your merch and everything to support you, even though you're just harping on and on about you being a loser. I guess it pays to lie. MAGA candidates are grifters. They are all about themselves, all about filling their own pockets. They aren't solutions-oriented. They aren't service-minded. They're all in it for themselves, grabbing power wherever they can get it. And constantly, and if in doing that, constantly harping about them being losers, if that's a way for them to, I guess, get paid, then I guess they're going to go and get that coin. But it's just sad and pathetic, and it erodes our democratic process. Now, hey, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to smash that subscribe button. And my name is Scott. If you're looking for more of me, a Southern political gay guy, you can find me on TikTok and on my YouTube, which are both in the description box below. I do morning live shows, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on my TikTok. Today, we talked all about Ron DeSantis. Meatball Run. You definitely want to go and check it out. But most importantly, do not forget to smash that subscribe button and make sure to click that little bell thingy for notifications. I think that's what it does, but you never know. And I'll see you in the next video.